Good morning, students. Today we are going to study Accounting Standard 1 that deals with disclosure of accounting policies. Now, before going into this accounting standard, at the very foundation level, you have been taught that accounting works within a framework. What does the word mean, within a framework? When you do financial accounting, there are a lot of rules, principles, regulations, concepts, assumptions that you have to take when you do accounting, such as we assume separate legal entity, owner and its business are separate, accounting period concept, time frame for which the performance is to be measured, that is PL is to be prepared, is of 12 months. Money measurement, anything which is measurable in terms of money will be recorded. Cost concept, accrual concept. There are so many concepts that you have studied at the elementary level, that is the foundation level. So whenever you do financial accounting, whenever you record transactions, right? So you have to follow a lot of rules, regulations, principles, such as you create provision for bad debt by following conservatism, that is prudence. You all must have seen in that case hire purchase transactions. We show asset even if we haven't got the ownership. Ownership we will get only when we pay off the last installment. So there are a lot of principles that we are following. That is why accounting is also known as science. So what are we going to discuss here? As we all know that financial accounting works within a framework, there are some concepts, assumptions, rules, regulations, principles, whatever you say. So whatever concepts you are following, that you have to disclose at one place, right? Whatever concepts you are following, that concept you have to disclose at one place. That is, this is specifically deals with whatever accounting policies you are following in recording a particular transaction, you have to disclose it. Now, why this accounting standards have been brought? As you all know that there are so many principles which are followed by different types of business entities. So in order to have standardization, these accounting standards have been brought. So a given set of rules, principles have been given, and whoever is preparing accounts, he has to follow that particular set of principles. But still, there cannot be single set of accounting principles. With respect to calculation of depreciation, you can see there are more than one method. We have straight line method, you have diminishing balance method, then you have annuity method, right? There are so many methods of providing depreciation. With respect to calculating cost of closing inventory, there are so many accounting assumptions. Either we can assume FIFO, LIFO, weighted average, simple average, right? So accounting standard to some extent has tried to reduce the number of options, but there is no single set of accounting principles. So for a layman, it becomes very difficult to have the proper understanding of a given financial statement. So you have to disclose all the significant accounting policies that you have adopted in preparation and presentation of these companies or these entities' PL and balance sheet. Now what that layman will do by understanding what principles have been followed, so that whenever he tries to compare it with another firm, so he can make that necessary adjustments. So there are so many principles, rules, regulations. I'm bit worried what to follow. So accounting standard brought some standardization. However, there cannot be single set of principles. In accounting standard also you get some options that okay fine, you can choose this, you can choose this. So how a layman will understand what accounting policies you have followed in preparing and presenting this particular financial statement? For that, this particular standard which deals with disclosure of accounting policies. Now say company A has followed these accounting principles, these accounting policies. So company A has disclosed after PL and balance sheet. Now what the investors, the stakeholders will do? After obtaining whatever accounting policies this company has followed, they will compare it with their competitors. So accordingly they can make necessary adjustment. Okay, fine, this company has followed depreciation as per SLM and my competitor is following diminishing. So in order to compare, right, do financial statements, what I have to do, I have to do necessary adjustments to this financial statement, right? If this company would have been following diminishing, then what would have been the results, and the competitor is following diminution, so now I can make it comparable. So this disclosure leads to comparison after making some necessary adjustments, right? Let us go through. This is your institute study material, right? And we will be following this study material for this particular AS, right? There's a bit of theory side questions will come from this particular AS, right? Now you can just have a look. Accounting standard, to some extent they have brought standardization, but still there are a lot of options available in a particular accounting standard, right? Now there are two reasons for this diversity, right? This is particularly unavoidable. The very first reason is accounting standards cannot and do not cover all possible areas of accounting. So if treatment of any particular item is not being covered in a particular accounting standard, then the entity has a liberty to choose any particular accounting treatment for that particular item. So that leads to diversity. There's so many options. So different entities will follow different accounting treatments. So if you disclose it, then the stakeholders, when they do analysis, when they compare, right? When they compare, they can have a proper comparison, right? So number one, accounting standard do not cover all areas. Number two, it is impossible to give a single set of policies because enterprise operate in different environment, different conditions. So you cannot give a single set of uniform principles. Okay, everyone has to follow this. No, I am working in different conditions. It may not be possible for me to follow this particular principle, right? So you will find that in an accounting standard there are more than one policy, right? So in order to have comparability, which is one of the qualitative characteristics of financial statement, you have relevance, you have reliability, you have comparability, you have consistency, right? So in order to make financial statement of different enterprise comparable, you have to disclose accounting policy. So whoever is making whatever kind of analysis, that particular person is known. Okay, fine, this company is following this company is following this. So let me bring it to the same parameter first, and then I will compare the net profits or the financial positions, right? So this is what they have said. You can just give a reading, right? Okay. So what is the purpose of this particular standard which deals with disclosure of accounting policy? In order to have better understanding of financial statement by requiring disclosure of significant accounting policies in orderly manner. And it should not be disclosed in a scattered manner. All significant accounting policies followed at the time of valuing inventory, at the time of valuation of investment, at the time of treatment of goodwill or whatever, right? It should be disclosed at one place. It should not be scattered, right? If I disclose, it gives me a more meaningful comparison between financial statement of different enterprise even if for a particular company also it is fruitful to disclose, because last year I was following SLM and this year I have following DBM, right? So now when I'm comparing my own firm with previous year, so I can make an assessment. Okay, fine, there is a change in accounting policy, right? The standard also requires disclosure of changes in accounting policy, because that will help us to give a more meaningful comparison where you are comparing same enterprise for two different periods. So this disclosure helps me in making a comparison of different enterprise for same accounting period. And number two, same enterprise for different accounting period. I guess this is absolutely fine with all of you. Each and every entity has to disclose whatever accounting policies they have followed, right? So an entity must disclose significant accounting policies followed for preparation and presentation of financial statements. And it should be disclosed at one place. It should not be disclosed in a scattered manner. Right? Now, there are certain fundamental accounting assumptions which every entity must follow. So if these are followed, then should not be disclosed, because these are fundamental accounting assumptions. Whenever you prepare your set of accounts, these concepts, these principles, everyone must follow. If only you are going to disclose only if these are not followed, then only you have to disclose this, because these are fundamental accounting assumptions. So one is going concern, another one is consistency, third is accrual. So whenever you prepare your books of accounts, the very first assumption that is going concern. That is why you make a classification between your current and non-current asset. That is why you show your fixed asset at cost. If your going concern is in danger, in that case your business is not going to continue in near future. So in that case you are going to report all assets at net realizable value. Right? It is because of this going concern you make a distinction between capex and revenue expenditure. Right? So if going concern is followed, no need to disclose. Only if going concern becomes inappropriate, then only you have to disclose it. Right? Consistency. What about this consistency? Consistency means same set of accounting policies which you followed in year 1, same accounting policy you are going to follow year after. However, as you know that if you are changing any accounting policy, that only you can change it as per the rules prescribed in AS5. Accounting policy should be followed consistently. Accounting policy should be followed consistently. Right? Accounting policy should be followed consistently. If you want to change it, only change as per AS5, and AS5 deals with changes in accounting policy. And over there it is clearly mentioned that you can only change an accounting policy when it is required by any law, any AS, or when it leads to more better presentation. Following SLM, my assets are bit overvalued, so I want to charge with a high rate under DBM method. Right? So you can change an accounting policy only when these conditions are satisfied. Either, say for example, I was following SLM and as per accounting standard 10, SLM has been removed. So automatically I have to shift to DBM method. And if I am following a policy due to which my assets or liabilities are understated or overstated, so I need to ascertain true financial position. So in order to ascertain true financial position, I have to change that accounting policy. Is that fine? So these are such assumptions which everyone must follow. Going concern, You make a classification between non-current and current. You make a classification between capex and revenue. Consistency, whatever policy you select, you follow year after year. You can only change it when it is either required by law or by any AS, or when it leads to more better presentation. Third assumption is accrual basis. Every business entity must follow accrual basis of accounting. However, professionals like doctors, lawyers, engineers, they can go for cash basis of accounting. But every business entity must follow accrual basis of accounting. Means there will be treatments of outstanding, prepaid, accrued, pre-received when you're recording expense income in your profit and loss account. And those adjustments will be shown in your balance sheet either as a liability or as an asset. Right? So these three we know, we have done it in our elementary level, that is foundation level. So there is not much of discussion required. So this is what going concern is all about. Consistency I have explained you, accrual basis I have explained you. Right? Now accrual basis has one problem. What is that problem? Suppose I have sold goods on credit, 1 lakh rupees in year 1. I have recorded it as a revenue sales. Profit on such sale is also been reported, and I have declared dividend on that. Next year that profit may not be realized. There might be a case that the debtors have become bad, debtors have become insolvent. So accrual basis has one problem. It does not consider the concept of realization. So that is why accounting standards, revenue recognition, AS 9, that clearly says no revenue should be recognized unless the consideration and realization is certain. I teach you and you are saying, sir, aapko de denge fees. What is this? Neither the amount and when you are going to pay, that is also not certain. So I cannot record revenue on some assumption, right? So accrual basis has one problem. You record a revenue, but that may not be realized. So whenever you record a revenue on by following accrual basis, you have to be sure about the consideration and its realization. If both are certain, show it. Now if I talk about Companies Act 2013, right, for companies accrual basis is must. And even if you are following, I told you, if you are following cash basis, it means these are fundamental accounting assumptions. You are violating that, the fact should be disclosed. In case I am following cash basis, I guess this is absolutely fine with all of you. There should not be any problem, right? Now what is this accounting policy? You said depreciation, then SLM, then FIFO, LIFO, right? These are all accounting policies. So what is this accounting policy all about? Let me give you a brief insight. What about accounting policy? There are certain treatments with respect to a particular item, such as if I tell you regarding valuation of inventory. Now how do you value your inventory? The valuation principle is like, as per conservatism, it should be valued at cost or NRV, whichever is lower. Fine. Right? Suppose NRV is high, so you value it at cost. Now when you calculate cost of such inventory, then what assumption you are going to take? First in, first out, or weighted average? So that is accounting policy. When you provide depreciation, you are going to follow SLM or DBM. That is accounting policy. Goodwill is to be impaired if there is a purchase goodwill, right? Then in how many years you are going to impair it? How if you have purchased a know-how or a copyright, right, and you are making production from that, you are earning revenue, then how you should amortize that? That is amortization of intangible assets. How you should value your investments, right? So all these items require some treatment. There are some principles that you have to follow. That is accounting policy. So at the very first outset, if someone asks me what is accounting policy, I can say two things. Number one, specific accounting principles and method of applying those principles. Say for example, if I talk about inventory, what is the principle? Cost or NRV, whichever is lower. And what is the cost methods? FIFO oblique weighted average. Right? So this is the principle and these are the cost methods that we have to follow. How do you apply? So accounting policy means specific accounting principle. This is the principle I have framed, and method of applying those principles. Right? If I talk about DBM, the amount of depreciation should be high in the initial years, because as the asset grows older, the utility of the asset decreases, so lower amount of depreciation should be provided in latter years. This is the principle. And how the method? First you subtract depreciation of year 1, you get the balance, again you calculate on that balance depreciation of year 2. So what do you mean by accounting policy? Specific accounting principles and method of applying those principles in preparation and presentation of financial statements. Right? So there are certain accounting principles, accounting policy. For inventory, it's FIFO weighted average. For cash flow, you can follow either direct method or indirect method. And you know that this is only for cash flow from operating activity. Investing activity and financial activity, there is no option available. That is only direct method. Depreciation, you have so many methods, right? Now this list is not inclusive. This is not exhaustive, right? Oh, this is not the end. It's regarding valuation of asset or recognition of any income or providing for any losses. You have to frame an accounting principle policy, right? For every item, right from valuation of assets and liabilities to recognition of income, providing for expected losses, accountant need to perform principles and evolve a method to adopt those principles. Right? Now, how do you select this accounting policy? What should be the consideration when you make a principle? Then what you should look after that? Number one, you have to see some primary consideration. What is that primary consideration? My primary consideration is that financial statement should show true and fair view. So whenever you select an accounting policy, you need to make sure that your assets are not overstated, your liabilities are not understated, expenses are not overstated, income are not understated, right? You need to make a proper true and fair view. This is the primary consideration. And what about the secondary considerations? These secondary considerations are: number one, prudence; number two, substance over form; and number three, materiality. Now I don't have to explain you prudence, that is conservatism, right? We anticipate for future losses and we do not anticipate future gains. That is why closing stock is valued at cost and NRV, whichever is lower. One example has been cited. So this prudence makes sure that profits are not overstated, loss are not understated, assets are not overstated, liabilities are not understated. That is why they say recognize loss so that assets are not overstated. Right? Recognize loss so that the liabilities are not understated. So the prudence example, you create provision for bad debt, and then this closing stock is valued at cost or NRV, whichever is lower. So this example has been cited, which you have done at your inventory level. I can just explain you quickly. I have purchased 500 units, right? It's clearly mentioned at 10 per unit. This is my purchase. I have sold 400. So as per matching principle, sales for 400 units minus COGS for 400 units, right? So sales minus cost of goods sold, you can see below. So we have taken sales for 400. Now how do you get COGS of 400? Purchase for 500 units minus closing stock for 100 units. So automatically you get purchase adjusted. So they have taken two examples. In the very first case, the net realizable value is 15. It means closing stock will be valued at 10. So purchase minus closing stock, that is COGS, is 4,000. So 6,000 minus 4,000 gives you 2,000 gross profit. And in second case, your stock is valued at 8 because NRV is lower now. So when you remove closing stock, you remove only 8. However, it has been purchased for 10. So in this case, your 6,000 is revenue minus 4,200 is your COGS. So you can easily see that 400 units actually sold. So 400 into 10 I will take. If I don't have to do by this way, I can do directly. Plus on 100 units, I have to show loss of 2. On 100 units, I have to show loss of 2 because in future it is net realizable value is 8. So there is a loss of 2 in future, so I valued it at 8. So I'm showing that loss today. Right? So when you must have done prudence, so this is the very first example that is very important. You all must have done at your elementary level. That is why you are there in your intermediate level. So here closing stock is eliminated at cost. So you get only cost of goods sold. Here closing stock is eliminated at NRV. So in COGS, loss on closing stock is also included, 200. That is why you're getting 4,200. Right? Suppose I'm creating a provision for my damages. Right? Now provision for damage I can only create when the probability of losing is more than probability of not losing it. Right? That is what example 2 is all about. They have explained you. Kindly have a look. Now substance over form, it's very important. Hire purchase, shown as an asset in the books of purchaser. You have lease, you have seen in AS 19 that deals with accounting for leases. The lessee is the deemed owner and he shows asset in his books, right? So substance over form. So one was prudence, another one was substance, that we already know. Even if you don't have the ownership, still we show it as an asset because what you have to see, substance, not the legal form. Not the legal form. Now this materiality is very important, that we should disclose all material items. Now how do you consider an item to be material? Say for example, there is a small theft which has taken place. Now that particular theft is amount wise it is not material, but I should detect it right now because that small theft can lead to a bigger theft in future, right? Relative materiality is not always a matter of relative size. You should not compare it of, okay, I'm a $1 million company, only 10,000 defalcation has taken place, let's not waste our time. I understand that is not pinching you much, but you should have a strong internal control. So there are some quantitative limits that if you have any income or expenditure which is 1% of revenue or 1 lakh, whichever is higher, this is the limit. Say for example, I have an advertisement of 50,000 and my sales is say 80 lakhs. So my question is whether I should disclose this advertisement separately or not. Now if you can see that 1% of revenue, that gives me 80,000, and 1 lakh, whichever is higher. So the limit is 1 lakh. Now since advertisement is less than 1 lakh, it is not necessary that I have to disclose this item separately. First calculate the limit, 1% of sale, that is 80,000, or 1 lakh, whichever is higher. So 80 or 1 lakh, whichever is higher, goes to 1 lakh. So this is the limit. Now advertisement expense is 50, so I can combine it with general expenses and show. No, not an issue. No, there's no, if even if you disclose separately, no one is going to say you it was not material, but still you have disclosed. So you can disclose, right? No one will stop you from disclosing. Further, you know that if any shareholder holds more than 5% of the total share capital, then that particular shareholder must be disclosed separately in a shareholder registered, right? And I've already told you that whenever you disclose, you have to disclose it at one place. It should not be disclosing any accounting policy in a scattered manner. So this particular AS deals with disclosure of accounting policies. There are a lot of treatments, though accounting standard has brought some kind of standardization. However, still there cannot be, accounting standards have not covered full accounting areas. Still there are some developments being taken place. And further, there is not single set of accounting policies. These two reasons are unavoidable. So you will find that there are more than one treatments for a particular item. So disclosure can help the stakeholder to make a proper comparison between different enterprise for the same accounting period, or different accounting period same enterprise, right? Now let us deal with changes in accounting policy. This is very important. If you can expect a question from this particular race, then it has to be this topic, right? So I have already told you that when you can change it, whenever you change an accounting policy, you have to disclose that properly, right? So now you have to check whether it is material in current year or future year. If it is material in current year and amount of change can be ascertained, then the amount must be disclosed. If the amount of change cannot be ascertained, then the fact must be disclosed that I am unable to ascertain the amount of change. However, if it is not material in current year but in later year, fact of such change in later period to be disclosed in current period. Okay, fine. I'll disclose in current year that next year the profit might decrease by this much due to change of this accounting policy. Right? So if an accounting policy is material in current account, if the change in accounting policy is material in current period, disclose. If the change in accounting period accounting policy is not material in current but it will affect future year, then also disclose. Both you have to disclose in current year also. So which has a material effect in current period or which is reasonable to have a material effect in later, both should be disclosed in the current year itself. So change in accounting policy, material effect either in current year or future year, both must be disclosed in current year. So this is a chart, it will help you a lot. Even if it is not material in current, right? Even if it is not material in current, but it will affect future, then that fact must be disclosed in current year. And AS5 will deal with in what cases you can change it. This particular AS deals with only disclosure, that you have to disclose. Okay. So you can read this example. Okay. Now, simply if you say that, okay, fine, the method has been changed from SLM to DBM, that won't serve the purpose. Simple disclosure is not of much use. The effect of change in accounting policy must also be disclosed. Mere fact that accounting policy has been changed will not suffice. Effect of change also must be disclosed. Effect of change must be disclosed. Now the company has switched over to weighted average. So this is new, and it was following FIFO, that was old. So simply saying that my closing stock has previously been valued in earlier years I was following FIFO, now I am following weighted average. This particular statement will not serve the purpose. You have to show the effect. So what is the effect? If I would have been following FIFO, then my closing inventory would have been 2 lakh. But weighted average it is 1.8 lakh. So as a result of which, if I am following weighted average, if this is my trading account, I am showing closing stock, right? And I am following weighted average. Previously I was following FIFO, but now I am following, if I follow FIFO, then my closing stock value will be 2 lakh. But I am following weighted average. So as a result, my closing stock will decrease by 20,000. So closing stock and profit has inverse direct relationship or inverse relationship? Direct relationship. So my profit of current year will decrease by 20,000 as compared to FIFO. So this effect must be disclosed in the current period itself. An amount is also ascertainable. So how we have to disclose, right? Is that fine? So how we have to disclose? First of all, we will write, they have told that closing stock is valued at cost on NRV, whichever is lower. This is our first statement. And since NRV is more than cost, therefore closing stock is valued at cost. Now while ascertaining that cost of closing stock, the method has been changed, thereby my value of closing stock is decreasing, which also pulls down the profit by 20,000. This is what they have written here. See, so my principle is inventory is valued at cost and NRV, whichever is lower. Since NRV is greater, therefore closing stock will be valued at cost. In the present year, I have changed my method from FIFO to weighted average, which pulls down my closing stock by 20,000. Thereby, my profit will also decrease by 20,000 in the current year. So in the present year, you can read the company has changed to weighted average, which better reflects the consumption pattern. Whatever, due to whatever is, I told you now, you can only change it by law or statute or better presentation. So they have given the reason of better presentation, right? The changes has reduced profit and inventory by 20,000. And this is what I have told you. Even if there is no material effect in the current year, then also you have to disclose in current year that it will affect future year. Right? So there is one example you can read at home. It is not affecting current year but future year, but still that fact has been disclosed. Okay. And this is I have explained you that disclosure of deviation. If there is a deviation from fundamental accounting assumption, then only you have to disclose. So there are so many examples. There are around about 4 to 5 illustrations, right? Let us just do it quickly. So on the basis of FIFO, it amounts to 1,63,000, but I want to shift it to weighted average, and it will come to 147. And my realizable value of inventory is 195. So first of all, I will disclose that the company should value inventory at cost or NRV, whichever is lower. NRV seems to be greater. 195 is greater in both the cases. Therefore, closing stock should be valued at cost. However, company has changed its policy from from FIFO to weighted average, which will pull down my closing stock by rupees 16,000, and therefore my profit will also decrease by 16,000. So first of all, you have to explain the policy. What is accounting policy, right? Is that fine? So how they have written this answer, right? You can practice. See, the more and more you read, and then accordingly you should practice and compare it with the standard answer. So let me this is a change in accounting policy. So first of all, I will write like this. Just listen to me very carefully. As per AS1, which deals with disclosure of accounting policy, whenever there is a change in accounting policy which has a material effect in the current year or which is going to have a material effect in future, both the fact must be disclosed in the current year itself. Even if it is affecting current year, then so you have to disclose in current year, and even if it's going to have a future effect but no effect in current year, but still that fact must be disclosed in current year, right? You can just read, they have written like this only. Any change in accounting policy which has a material effect should be disclosed in the financial statement. The amount by which an item in the is affected by such change should also be disclosed to the extent ascertainable. Achha, where it is not ascertainable, that fact also you have to disclose that, okay, fine, I have changed an accounting policy, but I cannot ascertain the amount of change, the effect of change. So there, that fact also I have to disclose. So I have to disclose that I have changed inventory valuation and its effect of change on financial statement. Then my answer will follow that profit and inventory will decrease by 16,000. Is that fine? So once again, it's a very easy question, right? As per AS1, which deals with disclosure of accounting policy, whenever there is a change in accounting policy and the fact must be disclosed, whether it is going to have a material effect in the current year or whether it is not, even if it is not going to have a material effect in the current year, but it will affect which the fact must be disclosed. If the amount is ascertainable, the amount of change should be disclosed. If the amount is not ascertainable, then the fact must be disclosed that the amount is not ascertainable. ये बताना जरूरी है कि अमाउंट हम असर्टेन नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. Full information whatever you have, therefore the Prashant whatever is the company name, Prashant, I guess it's Prashant Limited, should disclose the change in inventory valuation and the effect of change on financial statement. And then my answer will follow that NRV is more, so I'm taking cost. Now cost methods I have changed from FIFO to weighted average, so closing stock value will decrease by 16. Closing stock and profit has direct relationship, so profit will also decrease by 16,000, right? Now, is that fine? So you, if the more and more you write, the more and more the practice you get, right? Now illustration 2, which is very important, right? Just kindly go through. ABC Limited was making provision for slow moving items, right? The goods which whose movement or whose inventory turnover ratio is very high, it means it's a slow moving item, right? Slow moving item means inventory turnover is 1 or less than 1. So in that case, those inventories have been obsolete, thrown away by the market, right? So you have to create provision for that, because whenever you're going to sell, as per prudence, you should create provision. So ABC Limited was making provision for non-moving inventories based on issues for the last 12 months up to 31st March, right? The company wants to provide during the current year based on technical evaluation. Previously it was provision based on 12-month issue, now it is on technical evaluation. Anyway, tell me, what is the accounting policy? Accounting policy is to create provision on slow moving item. This is my accounting policy. Have I changed that? No. Still I am providing provision. So my policy has not changed. Estimate has changed. Previously I used to make estimate on last 12-month issue. Now I am making estimate on technical evaluation. So this is not changing. The policy still I am creating provision. Still I am creating provision. I am not changing the provision. No. Only estimate has changed. I was creating provision for bad debt at the rate of say 5%. Now I have decided to make at the rate of 10%. So there is a rate change. So rate change does not amount to change in accounting policy. It is change in accounting estimate. So this particular case is FIFO weighted average. These are policy. FIFO assumes first in first out. Weighted average is when prices are too much fluctuating in nature. So in that case you assume that total cost by total quantity, that will be my outflow cost. But here I am anyway creating provision. I haven't changed my policy, but how to ascertain that provision amount, that I have changed. So this is simply change in accounting estimates. Is that fine? This is purely case of change in accounting estimate. So does this amount to change in accounting policy? No. Accounting policy says that provision should be made. I have changed the way of ascertaining the provision amount. That is not a policy. Policy is whether to provide provision or not. That is the policy. Have I discontinued providing provision? No. Right? Okay. Now, this is very important. It came in your past examination. So you can just read illustration 2, decision of making provision for slow moving item on the basis of does not amount to change in accounting policy. Accounting policy says that provision should be made and I am creating a provision. The method of estimating the amount has changed. Right? So previously, as per previous estimation, it should have been to I have changed the provision amount. Anyway, illustration 3 is very important. It has come in your past examination, right? Jagannath Limited had made a right issue of shares in 2017. In the offer document to its members, it has projected a surplus of 40 crores during the accounting year to end on 31st March. Fine, it has reported a profit of 40 crores. The draft results for the year end prepared on the followed accounting policies and presented for the board of directors showed a deficit of 10 crores. The board, in consultation with the managing director, decided on the following. Right, just give a reading once fast. Is that fine? Now, so Jagannath Limited had made a right issue of shares in 2017. In the offer document, it it had projected a surplus of 40 crores during the accounting year to end on 31st March. The draft results for the year prepared on the followed accounting policies and presented for uh, perusal of the board of directors showed a deficit of 10 crores. The board, in consultation with managing director, decided on the following. The very first was they want to value year-end inventory at works cost. Now, works cost means including overhead cost as well, right? Instead of valuing it at prime cost. So they want to change it, and they want to include overhead cost. Include overhead cost in valuation of closing stock. Fine enough. No, not an issue. Then next, provide depreciation for the year on SLM on account of substantial addition in gross block during the year instead of on the reducing balance method, which was here to adopt it. As a consequence, the charge for depreciation at 27 crores is lower than the amount of 45 crores, which would have been provided had the old method been followed. Right? So basically, the charge of depreciation has reduced by 18 crores. Fine. Next, not to provide for after sales expenses during the warranty period. Not to provide for after sales expenses during the warranty period. Till the last year, provision at 2% of sale used to be made under the concept of matching of cost against revenue, and actual expenses used to be charged against the provision, like we do for in case of provision for bad debt. You create provision, when bad debt happens in next year, you write off it off with provision amount. The board now decided to account for expenses as and when actually incurred. So they don't want to follow provision method, they want to directly go for actual basis, and this is what it is followed in income tax, right? So they don't want to create this provision. Sales during the year total to 600. Provide for permanent fall in the value of investment, which fall had taken place over the past 5 years, the provision being 10 crores. So they want to provide for permanent fall, right, as per accounting standard 13. If the investment is long term and there is a permanent fall in the value of investment, then you have to create provision for such items. As a chief accounting, you are asked by the managing director to draft the notes on accounts for inclusion in the annual report. Right? So, first of all, I'm going to give that heading. That is a common heading, that as per AS1, any change in accounting policy which has a material effect in the current year, or even if it doesn't have a material effect in the current year, is going to have a material effect in future, that fact must be disclosed. And if the amount of change is ascertainable, then it must be disclosed. Even if it is not ascertainable, the fact must be disclosed. So you can just give a reading. As per AS1, any change in accounting policy which has a material effect in the current period or which is reasonably expected to have a material effect in later period should be disclosed. In the case of change in accounting policy which has a material effect in the current period, the amount by which an amount is ascertainable is affected should be disclosed. Where amount is not ascertainable, the wholly or partly, the fact must be indicated. Accordingly, notes on account should be properly disclose the change and its effect. Right? Is that fine? So this is also a change in accounting policy, that I want to include overhead cost. The way of calculating cost has changed, right? So when closing stock value will so previously I was taking 30, but now I am to take 50. So I'm increasing the closing stock value. So as a result of which, so I have to disclose that my profit will increase by 20 crores. This is also a change in accounting policy. I have changed from DBM to SLM. So by 18 crores my profit will increase, current year affected. So this is also change in accounting policy. Previously I was creating provision, now I don't want to create provision. So as a result, 600 crores into 2%, that comes to 12 crores. By 12 crores, my profit will increase. Previously I was creating 2%, now I am following actual method. So anyway I will not create provision. So now you can see that if I follow this, here 20 crore profit will increase, here 18 crore profit will increase, and here 12 crore profit will increase. Right, this is also change in accounting policy. I was not creating provision, now I am creating provision. So this has reduced profit by 10 crores. So all these fact must be disclosed. Is that fine? Right. So this illustration 4, you can take it as homework. Right. Now, let me give you a quick recap of the entire chapter. Sir, when you do financial accounting, there are a lot of rules, principles, regulations that you have to follow. In order to have standard, there were so many principles followed by different types of entities, so things were becoming uncomparable. So standardization has been brought through accounting standard issued by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and with the help of the government. Now, still there are some loopholes, right? All areas have not been covered, or a single set of accounting principles has not been prescribed. So that gives the necessity of disclosing the accounting policy, whatever you are following. It will help stakeholders to understand how the financial statements have been prepared and presented, so that when they compare it with competitor, another company, they can make necessary adjustments. Or even if they're comparing with the same company's accounting period, even if they're comparing with same company's accounting period, right, then they can see that what changes have been made in accounting policy. So all those facts must be disclosed. Then we have seen that there are fundamental accounting assumptions, going concern, consistency in accrual basis. If these are followed, no disclosure. Only if these are violated, then only we need to make certain disclosures. Then we have seen that what is accounting policy? Accounting policy means specific accounting principles and method of applying those principles, right from valuation of assets, liabilities, recognition of expense, losses, income. There are a lot of accounting policies that we have to follow. So when you select an accounting policy, the primary consideration is that financial statement prepared and presented must show a true and fair view, and secondary considerations are prudence, substance over form, and materiality. Right? You can change an accounting policy, but the effect of change must be disclosed in the books of accounts as notes to accounts, right? If it has a material effect, it must be disclosed. Even if it is not having a material effect but is going to have an effect in future, that must be disclosed. If the material effect is in the current year, then the amount by which it is affecting, that must be disclosed. If you cannot ascertain the amount, that the fact must also be disclosed, right? So that's it from today. That is what I have to say for AS1, and next class we'll do with some other AS. Till then, goodbye, take care.